the zone of interest.
Mm.
This is the serious part now.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is basically a film about Rudolf Höss and his family. He was the commandant of Auschwitz concentration camp, or the longest serving, and they lived in a house right next to the camp. And this film just basically follows their day-to-day life and what happens in this house. You see nothing of the camp. You see nothing about that, but it is provided as a backdrop. In the background, you see the towers and the smoke unfurling. You hear the gunshots, the screams, the shouting, etc. But what's in front of you visually is a little boy playing in the garden with a ball, the wife tending to the flowers. Very normal stuff with this very strange backdrop. Very powerful and disturbing film, I would say. Well, what did you think?
Yeah, exactly that. Powerful and disturbing. Because as you say, we never go into the camp. If he gets up and gets on his horse to go to work, that's it. That's the last we see of him till he comes home again. And we stay with the wife at home with all those sort of chores. And this is the point of the film, to show how normalised this atrocity became to people like this, to the Nazis. It's a very interesting way to deal with the Holocaust. It's been done in many films over the years, sometimes more successfully than others. There's a guy called Elie Wiesel, who was a child when it was all going on, and he's wrote about the Holocaust extensively. One book he wrote called Night, which is a very, very small book. You could read it in an afternoon, but to me, that's like, if you ever just read one book about the Holocaust, read Night by Elie Wiesel. Anyway, he was once said something like, it's impossible to portray the horrors of the Holocaust on film. Not to say that should stop people doing it, because I think it just means that in 2 hours or so, you can never really tell the true horror of what was going on. But I believe that when we start to look at all of these films, we're getting a broader picture, because we've got more than just one film or 1 2-hour installment. We've got things like Shoah, which is a documentary film, 9 hours long, taking testimony from victims and perpetrators alike. We've got, of course, famous ones like The Pianist and Schindler's List. We've got lesser known ones like Son of Saul that I told you about, which tells the story of the Sonderkommando in one of the camps there. You've got things like Escape from Sobibor, I was telling you about, with Rutger Hauer, which is almost coming into action movie side of. And although it's still powerful and poignant, there is undoubtedly that side of it, The Great Escape, coming into it, you know. But anyway, we got this whole tapestry of films about the Holocaust. Now, The Zone of Interest, being the latest one, has done something very different, and instead of taking us into the camp and trying to show us what happens in there, it's showing us from the perspective of, as you said, the camp commandant, Rudolf Höss, and his wife and family. So we've got Sandra Hüller again from Anatomy of a Fall, playing the wife. A very powerful performance here as well. It really shows how cold and how entitled these people were. All they're interested in is the fur coats and the gold teeth and all the stuff they looted from the victims. You know, she becomes obsessed with it to the point where it actually happened. Höss was the camp commandant, and then they wanted to take him away and basically take his skills to other, because there was hundreds of camps, and they wanted him to oversee this next phase of the what they call the final solution. But she didn't want to leave. She's having such a good time there.
Yeah.
And created this life, this beautiful garden she's created, and having friends over and entertaining. And she's so enamored with the place, she doesn't want to leave. That itself is just like, what? You know, she's obsessed with being there. And that juxtaposed to every single prisoner within that camp, the one thing they would have wanted the most was to get the hell out there as soon as possible. Even I'm sure some of the Germans stationed there, you know, would have hated
I'm sure,
some of them. But there she is. She wants to stay. So even if he's got to go away, well, we'll stay then, and you'll have to just come back.
You have to come back, yeah.
And I just thought that was just so, I mean, a really powerful film, very sort of slow beats to it, which you'd expect. There's not a hell of a lot going to happen. This is a meditation film rather than an action film in any way, and some strange choices in there. Jonathan Glazer does this though. He's always had like strange little bits in his film that sometimes really work. Sometimes I feel like they're plopped in just for the sake of it, and I felt that with this. There were a few things that I thought, particularly that ending scene where the guy's walking down the steps in the building, Höss, his character, but we're sort of flashing back to actual footage of the cleaners in the Auschwitz museum now. Yeah, and it almost implied, didn't it? We talked about it. It almost implied that he was hearing ghosts in the hallways, and I don't know. I just thought that was very strange.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't think it needed
that.
it. Yeah. I love the image of him descending into the darkness.
Yes,
that was a very powerful image, and I think it would have been better off just ending it like that. But
yeah, there's some really powerful images like that where you're like, how brilliant is that? And it's the one thing is it's a really precise film in its cinematography. It's very methodical. Oh, that's my shot. That's my shot. It's like, it's not moving. It's, we're sitting here watching that. We're cutting to that. So, very Nazi-esque in a way, very methodical and machine-like.
Precise.
But as you say, there's some strange things he does, which I wasn't a fan of, different things, and but still, regardless of that, it's very powerful. The biggest thing for me is that it's a film, I talk about this, quite a lot of people, about absence. I think absence in films is the most powerful tool you can use. Don't show the monster, just refer to it. What a scarier image you can evoke. And I think a lot of films fall into a trap of, we've got to show. Sometimes it is powerful to show, but I think absence is a really powerful tool that people don't utilize so much. And I think this is another amazing example of, let's not show it, but let's just have it in the background. And you, in your head, are creating the horrors of what terrible things are happening. And I think it's such a powerful
the sound
way
design,
of doing it.
The sound design in this was what was really used as the tool to give us that backdrop of horror. So it's always very muted. It's always in the distance. There's very sort of opaque in that sense. Yes, you hear the gunshots or the flames coming out of the top of the chimneys in the crematoria, or screaming, or this like mechanical noise constantly going on, whether it be a train arriving or stuff being moved about, like pipes clanking and all this really sort of despotic kind of sound design going on. And that was, if it doesn't win an Oscar for sound design, then I don't know.
I agree.
Because it was very, very powerful. Thanks very much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. The best way to support our channel is by giving us a like and subscribing. Other ways to support us include buymeacoffee.com or become a patron over on patreon.com. This video is also sponsored by funkytshirts.co.uk, so check out their website for a whole range of cool and funky t-shirt designs. All the links are in the description.